Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Talking Bitcoin, really, and doing a Q&A on the topic of Bitcoin. As most people know, I do absolutely love talking about Bitcoin. It is my number one passion, and also just want to give a status to my many copiers and followers on eToro. On what's going on there. So why don't we start with that? So currently I have 4,062 people in US that are copying me with a X amount of dollars that in total has given me 12,830,000 dollars assets under management that are doing exactly what my portfolio is doing in real time, which is 100% Bitcoin allocation, and is going to stay 100% Bitcoin allocation, or very, very close to that, at least for the entirety of this bull run, where I still predict that it will end up having some sort of correction, and that's what I will be trading to aim to sell near the top, and then rebuy whatever percentage I do sell near the bottom. I have a link to my my profile or page here on eToro in the show notes below on YouTube. This is where I post most of my analysis. On Twitter, we can't say that much, so I do some more lengthier stuff here on eToro. And one of the things is, for instance, this graph created by Plan B, not me, which is showing how the halving with the red line here, the price of Bitcoin is developing after the halving, and compared to the two previous halvings, and we're currently right smack in the middle of it, and that does give us some good indication of where we're highly likely going. And furthermore, stats, let's have a quick look at the stats. Like most people, let's wait. There we go. So, like most people, you know, I'm bored with the price being at 50 odd something thousand Bitcoin. It feels like, oh, we've been here forever. We were above 60. Where's our 70,000? Where's our 80,000? Where's our $100,000 Bitcoin? But if we take a look at, you know, the performance of my portfolio, which is 100% Bitcoin allocation, the last 6 months, then Bitcoin has done double-digit gains the last 6 months. October was 28%, November 40%, December 47%, January 10%, February 36%, and March 28%. So even though we feel like we've been stuck here and trading in a range or something, Bitcoin is going up double-digit percent now for the 6th consecutive month. So yeah, we are in a bull run, and we are going way higher. The graph I was showing earlier, which shows the direction of the price after the halving, really influences my target, which is 300,000 minimum sometime during this year. It's hard to know, of course, exactly when. That's less important. What's important is that we're going to get to the 300,000. Feel free to ask me questions from the chat. Let me see if there's any more that I want to. Oh yeah. Also, we can just have a look at. So let me just say this. So eToro has this concept where if you don't, if you are not comfortable buying or, you know, trading Bitcoin or other dirt coins, which I consider them as a, if you're not comfortable with that, you can choose to copy someone with X amount of dollars, and then whatever I do, that dollars that you copied me with will do the same thing in real time. And that's the whole concept of this Popular Investor. And that's what currently has put this $12 million under my management. And my strategy is clearly defined in my pinned post and in my bio, which is 100% Bitcoin allocation. And that is absolutely outperforming and smashing it, to be honest. And it will continue to be 100% Bitcoin allocation, or very, very close to, at least until we reach near the end of this bull run. The big question is, is how this bull run will pan out. The way I look at it is that we will have that blow off top and sharp correction, unless we see something like the bond market collapsing before that time, or a general global acknowledgement of that Bitcoin is the future and the dollar is collapsing. If any of those things happen before the top, then it may not be a blow off top, and we may just continue to go up. But I think that blow off top, which I expect to come in the second half of this year, is likely to happen before we actually see a bond market collapse. Bond market collapse is a big thing, and it will likely take a little bit longer, time. So let me just, before I go on to further or to the questions, let me just also share with you. This is the Popular Investors in US, and if we go and have a look at who's most copied, if you can see here, in top 10 of Popular Investors in US, everyone has a performance, a 12 months trailing performance between 100 and something and 200 something percent. And I guess the reason I'm the most copied Popular Investor is because my performance is not 200 something, but it's 500+% performance over this last 12 months. So as I mentioned it, we're killing it, and I'm happy to be able to help so many people that I've heard so many stories about their situation and where they are in their life and what they're trying to achieve, and coming in not being sure exactly what to do. It's a great thing for them to have this opportunity to copy someone like I or someone else that are sharing analysis and rationale for why Bitcoin will go to 300,000, why Bitcoin will go to $20 million later this decade. And yeah, it's one way of doing it. So am I sponsored by eToro? So I don't have a sponsorship from eToro, and that's fine. I am, as I mentioned, this Popular Investor that can be copied on eToro, and that means it doesn't cost anything for anyone copying me. That is something that eToro as such offer for free, as I guess I think a good service, something that helps a lot of new people, especially. But they do pay me an incentive for that, for the work I do, and well, in return for that, again, so it's like if you're copying someone, you don't pay the bill for doing that. eToro pays the bill for you. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good concept, to be honest. All right. So what we got? Let's do some questions. Hi, Anders. What do you think about this? Well, about what exactly? You mean the price of Bitcoin? I'm bored. I want to see Bitcoin at 70,000, but as I mentioned before, Bitcoin has gone up double-digit % every single month. And this is the 6th consecutive month now. So yes, the price is boring. I want to see 70. I want to see 100,000, but we'll get there. IG, I got $1.1 thousand of yours. I believe you're saying, and well, I believe they're in good hands because they're 100% allocated to Bitcoin, and we've got this. So, Saxton, you're saying that eToro trading is not hodling. Many people miss that point. Well, that really depends on what I do in my portfolio. And 99% of the days on eToro, or close to that, I am 100% allocated to Bitcoin. So copying me is very close to simulating Hello, Riley Cooper, good friend of mine. Thanks for coming, hanging out. And Riley, this video is actually a little bit inspired what you told me the other day when we were chatting in the weekend, where you're saying don't be so apologetic and not focus on the success you're having. Let people know. And so thanks to you, Riley, I'm letting people know now that, what are the returns that I've been getting and that my copiers are getting, and the amount of money under management. Why not be frank about it? I guess it's where I come from in Denmark, it's you don't toot your success too much, but it's I guess it's more American just to say it as it is. We are doing really well. We're cleaning table. What do you call it? All right. So what do we got here? Everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the chat. I see many friends there that are dear friends of mine and good people, and anyone from eToro. Thanks for coming, hanging out. I'm here to help answer your questions to the best of my ability. All right, Filtado, the Bitcoin price could surge as high as 300,000 in the latest bull market rally, but then plunged 90% into a window lasting years. The founder of the cryptocurrency exchange BTCC said, well, I highly disagree with that. I don't think that this founder truly understands exactly what's going on. I agree we're going to see 300,000 in this bull market. I think we could see 500,000. But I disagree that we will collapse the 90%. Collapsing 90% is like, if you say that, you haven't studied the development of the bull markets and how they have been evolving and how they have changed over time. And also things are just very, very bullish for Bitcoin because the Federal Reserve and the government are enjoying to kill the dollar at a very rapid pace currently. And when they're doing that, it means that the price of Bitcoin, the bull run, is just so much steeper than it otherwise would have been. Like I'm not part of it, but in US, they have printed about 40% more dollar, diluted the currency base with about 40% over the last year since COVID, the COVID crash, 12th of March last year. So, and these things mean we will not see a 90% collapse, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, I expect to see 40%. I also think we will be seeing 50% down. But 90%, those days are over because Bitcoin now has a new place in the world. Institutional money is coming in, and you see companies buying Bitcoin not to trade it, not to speculate, but simply to do what they know is right, which is to hold an asset that is not constantly being diluted by a so-called Federal Reserve. There, A, is not federal, and B, has no reserve. It's a privately owned bank. That 90% might be 50%, but that's probably going to be about it. And the bear markets have gotten shorter and shorter each time. So saying it will last years is just simply not, looking at the development of these bull and bear markets throughout history. The bear markets are getting shorter. So there's nothing to be afraid of, in my opinion. Plan Marcus, good friend of mine from Holland. Thank you very much. I couldn't agree more, Marcus. Pedro. During the COVID situation here, I have been, cutting my own hair, saving that money, buying more Bitcoin. And if you saw yesterday where we had Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert on Toxic Happy Hour, the show I'm doing with my good friend Poppy, same YouTube channel. I still had the full beard, and then I thought, experiment a little bit. Next thing to go off is probably down here, and then it'll only be a mustache. That's right. So, you have just been microcapped. I don't know what that means. Greatest of all time. All right. Hello there. So, Saxtron 3000 question: if not a Tesla, what would you like to buy with BTC? To be honest, I would love to get a Cybertruck when it comes out. So yeah, I would like to get a Tesla, but I don't want to spend any meaningful amount of my Bitcoin until we reach the full potential, which is $20 million per Bitcoin, which I believe will happen within 5 years, but definitely this decade. Of course, none of that is financial advice. But that's just my clear conviction. And you know what? So far, I've been right on this journey, pretty much on every single aspect, especially the last couple of years when I started to get a better understanding for this 4-year halving cycle that Bitcoin is in, which is what I'm trading on eToro. And I won't be selling all the Bitcoin because it's just, when we get near the bull market top, because things are just too bullish. So it would be risky, and I have a responsibility to these 4,000 copiers that trust me to help them gain financial independence. So I cannot be selling more than a minority percentage of the Bitcoin in order to buy it back cheaper, because we may just go to infinity in this halving cycle. And for that reason, I need to hold by far the majority of the Bitcoin still for my copiers. I am here to make everyone as much money as possible. Pardos BTC Pinch, yo, cheers. All right, cheers to you guys out there. Need to keep the voice lubricated here. So this is a really good question. What price range is the best to buy the dip? Now, so the thing is, and I keep saying this on eToro and anywhere else, nobody knows the short term. And because we don't know the short term, we shouldn't try and get cute and trade it or wait for the dip or something like that, because we're already in a dip now. Nobody knows, is it going to go further down, or is this it? Is this the bottom? But what we do know is the medium term, which is the 4-year halving cycle. People may claim that they don't trust that what's going to happen in the halving cycle, medium term, and the long term. I feel even more certain about in terms of where we're going. And because we know the halving cycle, that $300,000 target, and I would say that's very realistic. And we know that Bitcoin is going to take over as money of the world if we run through the arguments. And I did a video a couple of weeks back with my $20 million target per Bitcoin, and I explain all of that. And the rationale is I believe, very straightforward train of thought, easy to understand, and easy to argue why Bitcoin will reach $20 million. So that I feel with a lot higher certainty than where Bitcoin is going to be tomorrow. So why am I going to trade tomorrow when I can trade that Bitcoin will go to 20 million? How do I trade Bitcoin going to 12 million? Well, I put all my money in Bitcoin. That's how I trade it. Doesn't mean that you trade all the time. Trading all the time and thinking you can only generate wealth by trading all the time is really making it hard for yourself. What you want to do is that's always been my trading philosophy. Because I don't know the short term, I invest in things I believe in for the long term, because then whatever happens in the market short term, I can just lean back, relax, because I know whatever I invested in is going to do, will be absolutely killing it long term. And Bitcoin is the most convincing, phenomenal opportunity that I've ever seen in my life as an investor. And for that reason, I'm not allocated to Bitcoin. I'm a fully 100% all in, exposed to Bitcoin. But so I'm just helping you answer your question. I'm not being saying you're doing it wrong. You're asking the same question that everyone or a lot of people are asking, and my answer is just like, don't overthink it. If we're in a dip, don't risk losing out and then just see Bitcoin go to 300,000 and then you never bought in. So I want to share this this picture with you. Let's see. Here we go. If you can see this one. This guy, he was closely watching the price of Bitcoin and said he would be all in as soon as it drops. Point is, it just may never drop. And if it never drops, you lose out. So don't overthink it. BTC Moon Guy, yes, this is not Toxic Happy Hour. We had Toxic Happy Hour yesterday with Max and Stacy. I believe you were there. That was a phenomenal episode. Everyone feel free to go back and check that out. Tomorrow we've got Peter McCormick at 11:15 a.m. PST. He's a big podcaster from UK on Bitcoin, and a controversial figure. So there'll be a lot of questions there. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, my friend. BTC Moon Guy, thanks a lot. How far am I behind? I'm about 9 minutes behind in the chat. I'll get to all of it. I'm here. Yeah. Puppy's too busy stealing memes. Who does he steal them from now? All right, guys, if you're from eToro and you haven't been on Bitcoin Twitter, I have a link to my Twitter down below, I think. And we're having a lot of fun over there. So if you're ready for some sarcastic, dark humor, join Bitcoin Twitter. We're having a lot of fun there, giving each other a hard time, but it's hilarious. All right, so my BTC predictions for 2030 is that Bitcoin has taken over as money of the world, which means that Bitcoin will be priced basically at infinity, but will have a today purchasing power of $20 million per Bitcoin. So to answer your question, for 2030, my target for Bitcoin is $20 million per Bitcoin. And so far I've been right. It's not financial advice, but I put my money where my mouth is, and I believe we're going to 20 million, and that's it. Do you still think we'll hit 20K in June? I think we'll hit 100K before June, but having reached 100K latest in June, absolutely. That's what I expect. You can refer to me as KJ. Will you let us know when you suspect a sell-off ahead of time so we can get out without a huge loss? Well, so the point is, if you're copying me, that happens automatically. If I decide to sell 5% or 10% because I feel that a drop is imminent, if you copied me, that happens automatically for whatever dollars you have allocated to copying me. But otherwise, yeah, I'll keep sharing my analysis on eToro. But things may happen fast, and the most important thing is to take action. So if you want to cash that, I suggest maybe you consider copying. But otherwise, yeah, I will be sharing my my sentiment and analysis anytime, both on eToro, on YouTube, and on eToro, Twitter, and YouTube. John M., what happened to my face? Just experimenting, brother. Just experimenting. That's right. Flubby. Basic Huddle, thank you. So, John M., anything that I do is bullish because I am born bullish. So, I'm a very optimistic person. I happen to be a huge Bitcoin bull as well. So, just anything I do, just consider it being bullish. It's just the easier way. All right, what do we got here? Basic Huddle. Not everyone with a mustache is a pedophile, but everyone pedophile has a mustache. Right. Okay. You are most welcome, Flitado. Floppy, yeah, what the fuck was this? Okay. Hey, do you think BTC will break 53,000? I guess you mean coming from up and going down below 53,000. I don't know. I don't care. I think it's unpredictable. And because it's unpredictable, we shouldn't try and trade it. We should just be 100% allocated to Bitcoin right now. In my opinion, look, none of this is financial advice. I'm telling you what I'm doing and what I'm doing for my copiers. And we don't know the short term. So I don't know the short term. I claim that nobody really knows the short term, and therefore it's futile and dangerous to trade it. So look, if we know Bitcoin is going to 20 million, which I feel I do, of course, I don't know anything 100% certain. I just feel I do. So if I know it's going to 20 million, why will I not buy it at 54? Because I think I maybe can catch it at 53, and it may never happen, and the whole train leaves the station without you. You are most welcome. BTC Moon Guy, my favorite Moon Guy, till Anders is a bear. Not sure what you're answering there, but I'm definitely not a bear, which I guess means that answer is never. Oh yeah, so yesterday with Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert, like two of the most prominent and evangelizing people in Bitcoin, and they have been for 10 years. We had them on the show yesterday. It was a phenomenal episode of Toxic Happy Hour, and I definitely recommend checking it out. All right. So my thoughts on BTC lending, just like Preston Pish, I find the new financial world which will be built on Bitcoin. I find that very interesting, and I think that in general, lending, if you look away from the kind of consumer lending we have right now, just open the mind and say lending in general is moving capital from people who have excess capital to entrepreneurs trying to create value in society by putting together capitals and ideas and hard work and execute to create phenomenal and successful products and services. So overall, having a financial market is a good idea. There are different types of financial markets or opportunities and lending on in Bitcoin. There is custodial, where you hand over your private keys, or there's non-custodial, which is really, really interesting, and there's less risk there because you don't have the third-party risk. And Preston Pish is looking into all of these and covering them on his podcast. I listen to all of that. I absolutely suck that knowledge to me like a sponge, because I find it to be extremely interesting and very, very important for when the dollar will collapse. Because the fact that we have a free market interest rate on Bitcoin that may be 15%, compared to dirty fiat currency, which is artificial money, because it's not even money. Money you can store value. If you look it up in the dictionary, dollar, clearly you can't store value. That's why it's only a currency, and therefore it's really, really when the world starts to realize that the artificial interest rate of 0% actually can generate a double-digit percent on the free market on Bitcoin, that's when we can see the bond market starting to collapse. And when the bond markets collapse, there is no more selling any Bitcoin, because then there's a one-way only straight stairways to infinity for Bitcoin. So that's one thing to look out for, in my opinion, is when the bond markets will collapse within the next couple of years, in my opinion. All right. What is it? So it's a good question, Kevin. What are the chances of another coin being created to compete with BTC? Absolutely 0% in my opinion. And I would recommend go back and look at the video I dropped a few weeks ago where I explained my $20 million target for Bitcoin, because in that I go through the rationale that also says or explains why no other money going forward will be able to disrupt Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now is disrupting dirty fiat currency as payment, and it's disrupting, you could say, real estate and stonks for store value. So and for something to come along and disrupt what is already there, it is commonly said that it needs to be an order of a magnitude better to beat the network effect that is already in place. And because Bitcoin already have, and this is very important, maximum value on some very important properties of money. Nearly like all of them except one, you can't create something that has better value than Bitcoin. Go check out that video where it's titled something with $20 million target, where I explain it. So because Bitcoin has maximum value, infinite value, it can't be, you can't make something that is better. And Bitcoin already has the network effect. It has the hashing rate to secure the blockchain. Anything else is a joke and a scam, in my opinion. And you'll see them go. Wait, how far am I? Am I actually caught up on the? It looks like I'm caught up on the chat. Amazing. 63 people watching. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It seems I'm caught up on the questions. If you guys don't have more questions, I'm planning to do this. I'm gonna try and do it every week. It really depends on how my my week sort of pans out, but that's what I plan to do. But if anyone has some questions about Bitcoin, feel free to ask them in the chat. But overall, if there's no more questions, I'll just say that or reiterate that my target for Bitcoin this year is $300,000, happening in the second half of this year. So before New Year's. It could easily go significantly higher, but I believe that 300,000 is a fairly safe bet, expectation to have. And later this decade, my target is $20 million for Bitcoin. So that's my targets in summary. On eToro, I post pretty much all my analysis. There's a link to it down below on YouTube. If you're from eToro, you already have my my page and my feed with my thoughts, graphs, videos, etc. Yeah. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, anyone else lined up after Peter? So tomorrow we have Peter McCormack as a guest on Toxic Happy Hour. We're gonna go live 11:15 a.m. PST. And the reason that is delayed by 15 minutes, if let me just share with you what I will be doing. So again, I'm just sharing screen here from eToro. So what I'm doing before that, as you can see here, there's a seminar for eToro club members. I believe you need to have $5,000 worth of equity or something on eToro to be a club member. And I'm doing a similar to now, a Q&A tomorrow for eToro club members with 399 registrants, which is exciting. Looking forward to that, and do the same as I'm doing now, which is answering questions and talking about Bitcoin. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. All right, Ryan, you've been watching for a while but never heard my background. If you care to share, sure, absolutely. So, by the way, if you really want to get into that, then my good friend Daniel Prince, who has the podcast Once Bitten, that you can find on most podcasts, I guess all podcast software. Personally, I use Podcast Addict, I think it's called. He had me on and interviewed me recently. We spent 2 hours me babbling about my background and growing up and education and everything. But I'll try and give you a short summary. I always loved money, and to the extent that my mother, as a child, when I was a child, was worried that I was only focused on money and wasn't thinking about girls. Well, obviously I was thinking about girls as well. I just wasn't telling my mom about that. But I've always been fascinated by the by the concept of money, not because I desire necessarily shiny things, but money is is what money can buy. And money, first of all, I think can buy financial freedom. Financial freedom means you don't have a boss you don't like. Having financial freedom, having enough money means that you can buy your own freedom from whatever kind of slavery you're doing if you have a job you don't like or whatever. And to me, having freedom is what money is, and that's what that is my target, and that's why it's important to me. I always enjoyed economics. I always enjoyed math. Enjoyed school. What I will say regarding school is I was way too focused on like doing well academically and getting good grades and everything. What I would say to myself back then is that look, it is at least as important, really, to network and make friends, and because that is equally valuable once you're done with school. Everything is networking. So well, what else? I went to I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark. I went to high school in Australia, spent 2.5 years there, 2 years in the high school. I was planning to spend 3 years because, changing the language and, things were going to get harder. But I killed it in high school. What can I say? Got maximum score in higher level economics. Sorry for the bragging, not sorry, I guess. And therefore the 2 years was enough. Thanks God. And then I went back to Denmark. I did my bachelor in economics. I did my master's, which is 2 years in Denmark, in economics, in strategy, organization, and leadership, it's called. I then worked with internet since 1996. I started working with internet already when I was a bachelor, trying to started different companies. First company there I sold for a laptop with a color screen, which was a big thing to have a laptop with a color screen. Back in those days, they were mostly green and black, the screens. And after working my career in Denmark in the online advertising space for several years, I moved to Dubai, where I wouldn't have to pay 60% capital gains on my my Google options that I was trading back since 2005. So I spent many years in Dubai, and then I moved to Los Angeles now. So that's why now I'm in US. Judicial arbitrage is a real thing. Governments need to treat people's money right, otherwise people will leave. And I currently live in the fourth continent of my life. I lived in Europe. I lived in Australia, the world's smallest continent. I lived in Asia. Dubai is part of Asia, and now in North America. But what is also, I mean, thanks for asking. I'm sorry, I just keep going, but I guess there weren't that many more questions. So I have always been fascinated by, as I mentioned before, money. So that's why investing was something that I don't know if you can say it came easy for me, but my mind was already, all swirling around that. So I bought my first stock when I was 12. My mother was worried. She asked my father, isn't that dangerous, and shouldn't we be helping Anders, or I'll say he can't buy stock. But look, the most in general, like the best teachers in this universe are mistakes. When you make mistakes, it's really painful, and you make sure never to do that again. Best teachers in this universe is the mistakes that you make. You just got to learn from them. But I didn't make a mistake. I made a killing on that. I made it was a fairly random. I bought a bank stock and I made 20%, I think, in about a month or so. Yeah, so that's when I started investing my own money that I had earned from different jobs. That was when I was 12 years old. 300,000, and I won't stop grinning ever. That's right, EtoroUS. We're never gonna. You know what? I'm grinning already. I'm grinning here, and I'm gonna be grinning at 300. I'm gonna be grinning at 3 million. I'll be grinning at 30 million. People said, "Wait, why didn't you say 20 million was your target?" I said, "Yeah, but fiat is collapsing, so the price essentially is going to infinity. So I'll be grinning at $30 million per Bitcoin. I'll be grinning at $300 million per Bitcoin. Purchasing power, though, will be around the 20 million." Yes, so this scarf is a gift I got from all the way from Tehran in Iran, and this is some, I think, some special, I don't know, Kashmir or Afghani textile or something. I mean, I love it. What can I say? Um, So, Anna, have a question here. I currently have $1,500 copy invested in BTC eToro alone. How will I know when it's a good point to exit my copy trade? Well, so here's the thing. If I believe it's a good idea to take profits when near a FOMO peak blow off top, then I will sell, and your copy of me will do the same. If I sell 10%, your copy amount will sell 10%. So you don't have to do anything. I mean, my plan and my target, my task is to increase the value of your savings over time, and that doesn't stop at the end of this bull run. At 300,000 or 500,000, that will continue. I will rebuy back if there is this correction that I expect, and then I will continue to do the same as I'm doing now, being exposed to whatever is the best asset I deem there is. And so far, that's been killing it. If you compare me to the other copy traders, they in the top 10 of most copied, they have, as I mentioned in the beginning, performance between 100 something, 200 something. I'm the only one who has 500+% 12 months trailing performance. So this is what I will continue doing, and that will there will never not be a need to be in the best possible asset you can be, and that's what so I'll continue to do that. You don't have to worry about that. Pardas BTC Pins. You have Peter muted on Twitter. How do I mute him on YouTube so I only Anderson Floppy? Good question. Not possible, I guess. All right, John M., my friend from Ireland, and you have a Guinness ready for me when I come and see you one time. I will make it someday, I hope. If we didn't get near 300,000 this year, and would you turn bearish on BTC? I would never turn bearish on BTC as long as things are as they are. And I can't see any alternate universe where there's any reason not to be bullish on BTC and for BTC to take over as money of the world. If we only hit 299,000 by end of December, I would just be sitting on it and waiting for that 300,000 to happen. I don't see any any scenario where we don't reach the 300,000. But I keep my finger on the pulse, and everything is moving targets, and things can change. All right, Zach Dreek, and it's both me and my mom copying you on eToro, and my mom says hi. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Hi to your mom, Zach, and thanks for watching. Bro, you got the same gray chin beard as me. That's right. You know what? I embrace my gray, my gray beard. I call it that is silver fox. And silver, that is wisdom. Gray hair is wisdom. That's how I look at it. Embrace who you are and where you're at in life. Don't fight it. That'll be a losing battle. Might as well look at the good things. Financial freedom, working for yourself, is the only way to live life. Thank you, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. What else we got? Explain what you do in trade every day, as in day trading versus long-term trading, please. I beg. I enjoy how you think. Matthew, so I have explained it in my pinned post on eToro. I recommend anyone copying me absolutely have to read my pinned post. But also, if you're following, I would recommend, look, if you're following me and interested in Bitcoin, there's value in my input. You may not agree with everything in my pinned post, but I'm sure there's something that could be of some value. So basically, I kind of said it earlier, so I'll do it short. Nobody knows the short term, so trading the short term is absolutely futile and a bad idea in a bull run where the average daily price increase of Bitcoin is probably 0.5%. Trading trading the short term is just a bad idea, because then you're not 100% exposed to the pumps that are there on a very regular basis, and you don't know when they are. So if you don't know when they are, why would you not want to be in 100% Bitcoin allocation? That's why I don't day trade. It's a bad idea. If you look at my performance compared to day traders on eToro, I'm killing it, because what I'm doing is the best. 100% Bitcoin allocation. This phase of the bull run, we 100% hodl almost all the time. So I think I answered the question there. Black and white screen. Wow. Yep. I am old, and that sometimes, with a bit of luck and a bit of hard work, equals wisdom. So yeah, I actually saw computers with black and white screens. My first computer was a Timex Sinclair, then a Commodore 64. Amen, Matthew. I bought a Commodore 64, never bought it new, of course. I bought it secondhand. I bought a Commodore 64 for, I think, around $80. And then I got myself a 14-inch color TV that I spent probably $600 on. So that was more expensive than the computer. But then I had a TV in my room, which was cool. So what are the chances of governments restricting BTC? What's important to understand is that the US government tried to kill BTC, Bitcoin, in 2012. They made CIA, they gave them the job to put together a task force to kill Bitcoin, because they could see, they're not dumb, they could see that Bitcoin is a threat to the power of owning and controlling the money and having the ability to print money and give to yourself without asking the approval of your citizens. So they wanted to kill Bitcoin, not for your sake, not for the citizens' sake, but for the government's sake, and for deep states' sake, and for the sake of the private bankers owning the so-called Federal Reserve. But they realized that they cannot kill Bitcoin. So I don't think they're going to try and restrict it, because if they could, they would have. But if it did, I would embrace it, because the price of anything that the government bans shoots through the roof. You look at alcohol in the 20s, during the prohibition, alcohol became very expensive, and it was still there. The government cannot remove anything, goods or service, by making it legal. All they can do is make it illegal, which means it goes underground and it becomes much more expensive. Happens every time. Look at drugs, the drug war, the last 50 years in US, how many billions of dollars have been spent fighting drugs? Yet anywhere you want in US, you can get any drug you want. It's just more expensive. The same with Bitcoin. By all means, restrict it or try and ban it. Bitcoin is something that you can leave with. You can memorize Bitcoin. You can keep your Bitcoin in your memory and just leave the country and go somewhere where they treat your money properly and doesn't try to steal it from you. What needs to happen to BTC to break out again and jump the way that it did back in December? So I think Cameron, shout out to Cameron, the first person ever to copy me. Thanks for being around, Cameron. Cheers to you. So I think the way I look at it, Bitcoin doesn't need anything to break out. It will happen sooner or later. But what we look, a bull run has this parabolic curve that it follows pretty much no matter what. But sometimes you have those, as you're talking about here, the breakouts, and that is basically you need some kind of news to trigger that movement that would happen anyway. So it could be anything. It could be, MicroStrategy go out and say they buy. Tesla came out and said they bought it in early February. The price jumped up. So we just need the next company to say we did the right thing. We chose not to dilute the dollars or the value we have on the balance sheet. Well, we chose to start using a treasury asset that can keep the value, which is Bitcoin, unlike dirty fiat currency that constantly is losing value and has lost 97, 98% of purchasing power since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, the biggest scam known to mankind, if you ask me. So we don't need anything in particular. It will be, but there will be something that triggers what move upside to the next 70K, 80K, 100K. That will happen regardless. Dollar Drinks asked, what happens if USA come out with their own digital coin? It'll be a wonderful on-ramp, make it even easier to buy Bitcoin. If you check out the video I made with the $20 million target that I dropped on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, you'll see that they cannot create anything that is better than Bitcoin. That has already been created, and that is Bitcoin. Anything the government wants to do, they want to keep the same opportunities to dilute and destroy the value of it as they're doing currently. And that's the reason we don't want to hold dollars. That's the reason we hold Bitcoin instead. They can create something even as good as Bitcoin. They could give all the same properties, but you would have a hash rate, which means security of the blockchain and the network, way inferior. Means you can't go above. You can't disrupt Bitcoin. The game is over. Bitcoin already won. As we're watching the price rise, we're simply watching people realize the fact that Bitcoin already won, and Bitcoin is going to take over as money of the world, store value of the world, and reach my $20 million Bitcoin target. Yep. So what is my opinion about panic sell? Never panic sell in a dip. We buy the dip. Selling cheap is what will make you poor. So don't get emotional and panic selling. So I'm totally against panic selling. That's why I tell people don't have a stop loss, because if you have a stop loss, you're basically telling eToro, whatever platform you use, to sell your Bitcoin when it got really cheap. You don't want anyone to sell your Bitcoin when it got really cheap. You don't want to have any stop loss, in my opinion. But yeah, panic sell is what triggers, after a FOMO blow off top, and the price starts going down, panic selling from people who have not educated themselves and understood that Bitcoin is the best money the world has ever seen, and that will take over as money of the world and reach $20 million purchasing power. Those people who don't understand that will be the ones panic selling simply because the price is going down, and they don't understand that what they hold is truth. It's gold 2.0. It is more than gold 2.0. It is the future store value of the world. If you have not educated yourself and understood that, you could end up panic selling. That's why that educating yourself and understanding is key. I try to do what I can to educate people on YouTube, where we run many shows. I do two kind of shows. I'll do like this one, where I'm focused on answering questions regarding Bitcoin, and then I do Toxic Happy Hour with my good friend Poppy, where we have amazing guests from the Bitcoin space. Yeah, bro, am I 55? No, I'm not. I could be, but I'm not. Oh, you must be asking someone else, I hope. Damn, I'm not 65, bro. Yeah, Commodore 65. Oh, sorry. Yes, Commodore 64 was awesome when I grew up. Yep, that's right. BTC Moon Guy, my favorite Moon Guy. And if you go back and watch the early Toxic Happy Hours, our good friend BTC Moon Guy was the only person in the chat, and he owned the chat. So he always have a special place in our heart, because he's been supporting Toxic Happy Hour since we started 6 months ago. Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. When the price of Bitcoin goes down, it means it's on sale. You want to buy it when it's cheap. You don't want to sell it when it's cheap. Yellow, another great memer on Bitcoin Twitter, part of a tight group of really smart and creative people. All right. What else we got here? From Shane Stapleton. Hi, we cannot copy you on the European version of eToro. Yes, I know that's US regulations. Regulations. Would you have any suggestions for similar European copy traders with the same mindset as yourself? Many thanks for the info so far. You're most welcome, Shane. That is why I do it. I equally hope that anyone from Europe or anywhere else in the world can benefit. That's why I do this. So what I would say, not financial advice, personal opinion, just buy Bitcoin and hold it. You don't need to trade the halving cycle. Feel free to watch, my trades. I broadcast all of that on my eToro profile when I do try to nail this cycle. But you know what? Buy and hold Bitcoin. If it's going to 20 million, which I'm very certain of, then you don't need to add further to that. Just take the ride. Buy and hold. Anna, you are most welcome. I enjoy doing this. That's right. As Christian is saying, Tesla just announced today or yesterday, I think it was one of those two, that you can buy their cars with Bitcoin. And they also said that they won't be selling that Bitcoin. So any Bitcoin spent on Tesla cars is going away, locked up in cold storage, not coming back as supply side on the market, which is bullish for the price of Bitcoin. Now, that obviously can't go on forever, because when Bitcoin takes over as money of the world, and the only thing they can use when they're buying new factory equipment, capital expenditure, etc., they'll be forced to use Bitcoin because no one will be selling stamping machines for anything else than Bitcoin, because by that time later this decade, nobody will want to accept dirty fiat diluting dollars. Yellow. So we're going to say one about, what do you think? Yeah, I don't know, and I don't care. I don't know if you're being serious here, because I know you're just hodling strong and not day trading. But yeah, who knows and who cares? Because we're going up. So I agree with BTC Moon Guy. This feels low. I bought the dip yesterday, and I bought it a little bit more expensive than it is right now. But again, I don't care. You can't catch the bottom, exactly. You just can't. But what you can do is you can see, well, this is now on a discount compared to the previous recent all-time high. So why not pick it up at a discount? Yep. 52,500. Are you kidding me? So, well, then my graph is not completely up today. Oh, that is right. Oh my God, we're 52,200. That is cheap. What can I say? Which means it's a great time to be panic buying. I never panic sell. I may panic buy. And yeah, maybe I'll have to end this show early and go do some more Bitcoin buying. I like the prices here. I don't know, Taproot. I just don't know. I don't really look too much on the 50-day moving average, to be honest. And Christian said he sold some Bitcoin at 20,000 in January, and now he regrets it, and that's why we don't panic sell, or try never to sell, kind of. So what do we got here? I'm still in the green, copying you because I haven't added funds since it hit 51. Perfect. Happy for you, Christian. That's why we're here. We're here to make a lot of purchasing power. We're not making money. We're buying money. We're buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. US dollars is not money. It's just currency. It can't store value. So hence, if you look up in the dictionary, it's not money. I'm just saying, this to support what you're saying here. So you're in the green, you are gaining purchasing power, because the dollar still is a measurement of purchasing power. Oh, you are borrowed 23. There we go. All right, I know you. So I think this will happen probably. It could happen in April, probably latest May. It'll probably, it's a good chance it'll happen in April. Definitely latest June. How will I convert a 65-year-old with bonds to convert Bitcoin? I spent 2 hours doing that in that presentation I did a couple of weeks back. It's on my my YouTube channel with my $20 million per Bitcoin, where I explain, I'm pretty sure among other things, why I would never hold, well, indirectly, that I would never hold bonds, and why it's a bad idea to hold US dollar bonds or any other dirty fiat currency bond, because essentially it's a claim. It's holding dirty fiat, which is collapsing in real time right now, compared to Bitcoin. Absolutely. So here's a question from S. Russell. Thank you for this question. Always copy with open orders. because I don't trade a lot. I just sit on these Bitcoin positions. So absolutely, always copy open orders to get that position in Bitcoin and sit and have it and being exposed as the bull runs its course much higher. Shane, I can't remember what I answered you earlier, but you're most welcome. Yep, bro. Christian Gray, always open. Wow, so Bitcoin dipped to 5150. I mean, this is buying territory. Wow, I really need to get off this stream and go buy, but it's okay. I'm already 100% all in, you know. So when I buy, it's mostly just because I can't help myself. The price of Bitcoin dumps. I don't panic. I get greedy. I want that cheap Bitcoin because in my opinion, it goes to 20 million. So why not buy more? Elif, Erkan, shout out to Turkey. Glad to see no panic. I actually a couple of years ago got a handful of followers on Twitter from Turkey. It was fun to see. We love the world. So yeah, as Christian is saying, with the action right here, I should get up. But you know what? I'm 100% exposed to Bitcoin. I don't have much dirty fiat buying power left, to be honest. But yeah, I still want more Bitcoin, and I prefer to buy it when it's cheap. Definitely won't be selling it when it's cheap. So Ariel, the only reason that eToro closed your position is because you have a stop loss, which is why in my pin post I say minimize your stop loss so you won't be affected by it. Because a stop loss forces you to sell Bitcoin when it's cheap. I mentioned it earlier in the stream. You may have heard it. I don't have it. So the reason you lost money is because you allowed Bitcoin, eToro, because you had a stop loss. Don't have a stop loss, which when you copy people, they force you to have it, but then minimize it, put it down to 5%, which means that Bitcoin, your copy value can crash 95%, which means in practice, there is no stop loss because that's not going to happen, in my opinion. So don't have a stop loss. That's your decision. It's your money. You make the decision. So we can't blame anyone else, to be honest. I love this question. Any comments on ADA and Polkadot? Yes, it is absolute utter garbage. That's how I look at it. I've done many videos explaining why I think that altcoins are dirt coins. Since this stream is focused on Bitcoin, I'll make it short and say it's absolute utter garbage and then focus on Bitcoin. Did you read the Ray Dalio interview about Bitcoin? It's threading on Yahoo News with the following headline: Dalio sees good probability Bitcoin gets outlawed. Anna, I already covered it a little bit earlier. You may have asked this question before I did. I don't see US outlawing Bitcoin. If they do, the price will increase, and you'll have the ability to leave the country with your Bitcoin, carrying it in your memory, actually. So I don't think it'll happen. They wanted to do it in 2012. 9 years later, they still haven't done it. And the reason is they have realized they can't do it. And even if they did make it illegal, what they would see is an outflow of brain power and wealth that no country wants to leave from its country. So and John is saying it also on ADA and Polkadot. That is the correct answer. Ariel, so I guess you saw that already. That it's because you had a stop loss. Don't have a stop loss. Well, you're forced to have it when you're copying something. Minimize it, put it at 5% so that you essentially in practice don't have a stop loss. I mentioned this in my pin post, and that's why I keep reminding all of you, especially copiers, but also followers, that read my pin post. I wrote it for your sake. Try and help you, give you input that hopefully make you more informed and hopefully better decisions. Buy the dip. Absolutely couldn't agree more. Musk is going to find ways to make BTC pump. Yeah. So if Elon Musk is not pumping Bitcoin, it's highly likely because he's enjoying to pump the price further, and because he needs to accumulate more before he pumps it. So if he's not pumping Bitcoin, it's highly likely because he's scrambling to buy as much as he can in this dump, while some people who didn't educate themselves panic sell. We don't. Educate yourself, and then you'll be panic buying instead of panic selling. All right. I think we have reached the end of the questions. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for copying me on eToro. Thank you for following me on eToro. And thank you for your questions. I love Bitcoin. It's my passion. So thank you for giving me a chance to talk about it. My good friend Plan Marcus here again. The bigger the dump, the higher the pump. Yep. So we're getting ready for that pump. What I will say here is, when I do shows with Puppy, my voice gets a rest. When I do shows myself, my voice does not get a rest. So since I tomorrow will be doing an eToro Q&A club member webinar for 399 people, I better rest my voice a little bit, because I'll be going straight from that into another Toxic Happy Hour where we have Peter McCormick from UK as a guest on Toxic Happy Hour, which is going to be really interesting, I think. Bye, freaks. Bye. Great show. Thank you very much, Taproot. I love doing this. You know it. Zach, you are most welcome. And yeah, so on that note, remember not to store more value in dirty fiat currency, aka dollar, aka euro, aka whatever dirt coin of your choice. As much as Ethereum is a dirt coin, so is your government fiat currency. It's just another scam. So don't store more value in it than you can afford to lose. It's a built-in policy, and currently the dollar has lost 97, 98% of its purchasing power, and they managed to convince the majority of the population that it's good for you, that they're stealing the value of your savings. Think it is not. US had its best productivity growth period when US was in sound money, which was gold, before the Federal Reserve, back from 1873 to 1892. That 20 years, US productivity growth was near factor 3. Well, Pedro, my good friend there, Pedro the Alpha, you know it. I named you Pedro, and glad to know you, buddy. You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you for that. And nice job, Pedro. Amazing. All right, everyone. See you on the next one. We're going tomorrow on Toxic Happy Hour, 11:15 a.m. PST, and eToro Club webinar is 10 o'clock a.m. PST. Thank you all for watching, and yalla. I want to do those before and after pictures with Yella, where the before picture is Yella from NWA back in the days, and then, but I can't meme, so I can't do it. Somebody do it for me. And Yellow is obviously the character we see right here. All right, thank you all. I'll catch you on the next one tomorrow, maybe. Have a great, wonderful, what do we have today? Wednesday. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and enjoy your lives. Enjoy your lives. Yeah, what can I say? And let's enjoy the bull run. Thank you, Sharon, big bowler, American basketball player, pro, playing on Tenerife. Another good friend there. All right, see you on the next one, guys. Thank you for watching and for participating and copying and following.